Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou. My first reaction to a potential boxing match between the two. First, I just want to point out is I know Fury's in his boxing shoes, which are in his boxing boots, which don't have much elevation on them. I don't know what Francis has on his foot, and the camera might be a bit deceiving because he's in the background, but it doesn't look like he's that much taller than Francis Ngannou, in my opinion. I wouldn't actually say Fury is 6'9". He's probably 6'7". Maybe I push a little more. But if you notice in all these gym photos that he takes, he's always got his arms around some of the guys in the front, like Jarrell Miller and most recently, and David Adelaide, and he's got his arms around him, and he's standing on his tiptoes. So he looks like an absolute giant in comparison. We know these guys are like 6'3", 6'4", or 6'5", whatever. So yeah, I think there's a bit of kidology going on there. It's like when they say Canelo's 5'9". I would say that guy's closer to 5'7". Possibly a similar scenario with my man Tyson Fury here. You should see the photos of him next to Shaq. That is unbelievable. It's like, and Wilder next to Shaq. They look like wee boys, man. But my reaction to this, I've been, I watched Francis Ngannou versus Cyril Gane, the highlights. So it was 13 or 14 minutes on BT Sport, I believe. I've seen a couple of highlights in the past against oh man, I can't remember some of the names, like Derek Lewis, Stipe Miocic, a Dutch fighter, forgotten his name. I think he used to fight in Pride, etc. But anyway, yeah, what I did notice against Cyril Gane is Cyril Gane was landing jabs at will. And I know it's MMA, so it's different. And the fight. I was watching Michael Bisping, and he was like, they all fight with loose guards, which I have noticed. Hands down, plodding forward, rushing in for takedowns and stuff like that, trying to pin him against the cage. You couldn't do that in boxing. You would get, with somebody like Tyson Fury, you get picked off. He'd spin off, and you'd miss by a mile and do a Dillian White and fall through the ropes. That is just a fact. There's absolutely no comparison of boxing to MMA in those attributes. I've watched some of his stuff with Teddy Atlas and some of his bag work and as well. He definitely looks like he thinks way too much about throwing punches. He's going low to like hooks to the body, so maybe he might, if this fight ever does happen, he might go to try and do a Dillian White, which is probably the best he can hope for, in my opinion. My honest opinion, go to the body. Everyone speaks about him having ferocious punching power. Yeah, that might be easy to say in MMA, where there's a lot of different things going on, disguising. You can get away with telegraphing shots, especially if you're in like Muay Thai or Thai boxing or sort of K1 stances, etc. Feinting with leg kicks and such like. That would be a lot easier. But in this case, I'm not sure if it will translate as well into boxing. It's completely different. But saying that, there's always a chance. But my honest opinion is Tyson Fury will jab this guy's head off all night. In comparison to Tyson Fury, he looks like an amateur. I don't think he could have beaten Tyson Fury. I don't think he could have beaten Tyson Fury. In his first or second fight back after his reign, and that is my honest opinion. Tyson Fury, can see a boxer trick, see what he's got, a bit like Dillian White, and jab his head off all night. There's no way this guy's got quicker feet than, who's he fought recently. I just don't see how he definitely won't punch as hard as Deontay Wilder. Doesn't have the reach. Won't won't have the same power or accuracy. And I think he's going to be in for an absolute shock, to be honest. Um, Again, big massive guy. A lot of muscle, needs to be looking out, um, and careful. A few rounds of maybe a bit of southpaw action, a jest. But I definitely, I'd see Francis Ngannou in that kind of shape with those kind of muscles. I just feel like he's going to be end of a jab, and he's going to be gassing by a third round. However, if it's something more like a Triller production, like Triad Combat or something along those lines, which I've thoroughly enjoyed with Frank Mir and my brain with with Frank Mir and that was the Bulgarian guy called again. Completely forgotten, but I've really enjoyed that. Possibly, if there's half tie plums and you can underarm and overarm hooks and stuff like that. But what I do wonder if my man will revert to type and go for takedowns and stuff like that. There's definitely a potential for that. But anyway, I would give, in a pure boxing match, 6, 10, 12 rounds, whatever you want to call it. I see him getting his head jabbed off and getting soundly outboxed and probably stopped and ruined during the fight. Potentially a Jeff Lacey kind of mismatch. I just don't see how he'd be able to do anything with Tyson Fury in a boxing ring. But that's my opinion. You guys let me know your thoughts. Remember to like, comment and subscribe. And yeah, give me your honest opinions and we can have a chat in the comments. Cheers guys.